I had no idea. So I'm like sitting down, by far the least famous, least moneyed person in this little circle of folding movie star chairs. Far and away. And I sit down and I'm trying to flex my little bit of juice and show that I got stuff going on too. And I start talking to them about my cool morning on TMZ. And little did I know, I was just pissing off like this guy to no end. Not like in a real way, but like in a sports fan way. He's like, fucking Antonio Brown, blah, 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 wasted opportunities. So he starts like kind of like arguing with me and kind of like getting worked up to a degree.
You're listening to Hypothetically with Will Newman.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is where you are. Thank you for listening to Hypothetically with Will Noonan. That's me. Coming at you live right now from, I think I'm on 290 in Worcester. About to get on 90, the Mass Pike. Heading home to Boston. Just did a gig at a beautiful location here in Worcester, Mechanics Hall. Did a little fundraiser for a local police department, and thanks, bitch. And it was very fucking cool. New England's got all these places. They have names that don't sound impressive. Mechanics Hall, Ben Franklin Institute, whatever. And they're nondescript buildings from the outside. They're in cities and rows of buildings, and then you get inside and it's a beautiful fucking theater with like red carpets and red velvet seats and paintings from like the fucking old days all over the place. And I'm talking the old days, like George Washington, Abe Lincoln days. I find that shit very cool. I always try and find out who like from the past had spoken there. Charles Dickens had read from his books there. It's like, holy shit, man. So that kind of stuff is cool to me. So we were just there, and that was a good time. I was with Paul Landwehr and Dave Russo and Joe Yannetti. I've been working with Joe Yannetti and Dave Russo a ton lately. Very interesting that we've been paired up so much. But yeah, I'm on my way home now. It's going to take me about 40 minutes to get back, and it took me 2 hours to get here. And you know what sucks is I do 2-hour drives all the fucking time. I don't give a shit about a 2-hour drive. 2 hours doesn't bother me. 2 hours in a car, 2 hours driving doesn't fucking make me bat an eyelash. You know, I do it constantly. But 2 hours on a drive that normally takes 30 to 40 minutes was like just painful. Because it wasn't really traffic, but it really wasn't not traffic. It was just like driving 20 miles per hour all the way from Boston to Worcester. It just sucked. I don't know why. It was like one of the most annoying drives to Worcester I've ever had. I hate to sound like that guy. I want to go back and listen to some old episodes of this podcast because I just know I haven't always hated traffic like this because I know there always hasn't been traffic like this. Of course, life is life. You're going to get stuck in traffic jams. On Friday afternoons, you're going to see bad traffic, this, that. And the other thing, I know all that shit, but it just seems like you can't get in your car and drive anywhere in the Boston area or surrounding areas and not just get jammed up at every possible opportunity. It's like fucking yesterday I drove 3 miles to my gig in the North End, and it took like 45 minutes. I hit 2 construction sites, one that completely blocked off a road without any warning until you hit it, and then a movie filming. And I was like, and then these things cause just these huge backups of people going like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And people backing up and turning around and making U-turns. It's like Boston is just filled with these choke points. We have them all over the place. Right near where I live in Southie, there's this spot on L Street in front of Tasty Burger where it used to be where 2 lanes become 1 lane in just magic like that. In 1 second, 2 lanes disappear and it's 1. And drivers are just supposed to figure that out as they hit it. So what happens? The second rush hour starts, 2 cars hit that spot, and then it becomes you go, no you go, no you go, no you go, happening over and over and over 1,000 times until rush hour ends. It's completely nuts. And Boston has like one of those every half mile. And then we also have the crosswalk. So it's just kind of like, and I feel like every time I get in my car, there's more shit on the road or on the side of the road. There's like more lines on the road. There's more blinky fucking lights on the side of the street. There's more fucking crosswalks. It's just, I'm not even trying to sound dramatic, but you cannot drive a block in Boston without some sort of fucking weird thing. You can make it 2 blocks and you'll hit a thing. You might get 1 block, but on that second block you will hit construction or a rando walking in front of your car or a bicyclist who's like sort of in the middle of the road. All kinds of, there's just weird shit everywhere you look. So it's driving me nuts, and it's like I keep giving myself longer and longer to get to gigs, and I'm still always barely making them, showing me that things are just taking longer and longer. Like I don't think it's ever taken me 2 hours to get to Worcester before in my life, and I just had a feeling to give myself that much time today, and I was like, I'll get there early, I'll read my book. I was 15 minutes late. It's unreal. It's unfucking real. And no one wants to listen to a guy just complain about traffic. But I don't fucking know what to do anymore. And I don't think it's not 100% to blame on the politicians and the idiots who make these highways. Because, yeah, they are greedy. And they are fucking bleeding us dry for taxes and constantly doing construction and making sure everyone gets paid. That is true. But people are just fucking idiots. I think of it constantly when I'm in the car now. It's just, if you're in a hurry to go somewhere, just good luck, because you have to fucking walk through, when you're walking through deep snow and you just can't move the way you want to move. When you're walking through deep, like 3-foot snow, you're just trudging, you're breaking a sweat. It takes effort. It just takes a lot of effort. That's what driving is like now in fucking Boston, is like walking through 3 feet of snow, and that's, instead of snow, it's fucking idiots on their phones, on Xanax, smoking weed, fucking talking to the person next to them, fucking being a hall monitor of the highway, driving slow for no. It's just, people are just so selfish and so fucking. I'm listening to myself right now. Can I do a whole hour just on traffic? I probably can. But it's just, been doing this a long time. I don't mind driving. I think it's the best way to travel. I think one of the beautiful things about America is that everyone gets to have a car and pays taxes for these well-maintained roads and gets to use them. And it's a great way to get around. I've been doing it for years. But it's becoming hard, man. It's becoming... Like right now, I'm so happy. I'm driving home. I'm driving down the highway, 75 miles fucking per hour. But what's to stop the world from just throwing some construction at me or some fucking thing at me? I'm just constantly in traffic. My foot actually hurt when I got to the gig today from like tapping on the gas pedal and tapping on the brake for 2 straight hours. It's just driving me nuts. I don't know what I'm going to do. What am I going to do, podcast listeners? All of you were like, Will, I fucking work 8 hours a day in a chair, and I hate it, and you shouldn't complain about having to drive alone in your own car when you can do whatever you want, listen to whatever you want, say whatever you want. That's true. But I'm kind of also not into this whole you can't be enjoying a successful period in your life and also be cranky at the same time, because this doesn't add up. If anything, things can get more problematic. Everyone expects me to fucking do their thing every day. I gotta do multiple things. Gotta keep everybody happy. Gotta make everybody happy all the time. So anyway, But yeah. Driving back from this gig, what did I do this week? Had an audition earlier today. Back on that. Gotta go out and audition for things during the day. Oh, I filmed the movie. So I guess I'll talk about that. Let me talk about my recent work on a movie. I've never, obviously, been in a movie, a big real movie. I've been in a ton of indies, a ton of movies you've never seen, a ton of movies that never made it to anything. Student films and all kinds of shit. Done some funny sketches here and there, but when it comes to like acting, mainly in commercials. Done a lot of commercials, and before I did all this, I did a lot of plays, but I'm not some like experienced TV and movie actor by any means. So it was cool to work on this movie. I was like, had a bigger part than I've ever had, but still a very small part. I had like 4 lines, but it's kind of an important scene in the movie, and we shot in the same spot for 3 days, basically shooting about a minute, 30 seconds to a minute of this movie was taking 3 to 4 days because it's heavy action and heavy plot. So I don't know if this will be interesting to anyone, but it was there were a lot of cool things about being in a major motion picture. Like, it's a huge production. The sets are like campuses or camps that like pop up out of nowhere. All of a sudden there's just 1,000 people all working together and kind of this artistic thing. So there's stunt guys from Australia, there's like costume people from LA and Atlanta, and hair people, and just dozens of like, there's just so many people working all towards the goal of making a movie, and there's just so much going on at everything is important. I'm this tiny little character in this big movie, and I had a name tag on that had a photo of me with like a real information, and like that had to be worked out. All the props, everything is like down to the smallest minute detail. And so we were shooting, and I'm talking probably most of the day, every day for like 3 days, like 11 or 12 hours. So I'd like wake up. Luckily for me, none of my call times were early in the morning, which ruled. But I'd wake up, have a couple cups of coffee, drive like 10 minutes to where the trailers and shit are. It was like the best gig. And then I'd go kind of sit on the set. First day I didn't do much, if anything. I think first day I just got sent home without doing anything at all. Second day did a little bit more. Third day did a lot. But what I was in and what they were shooting there, it was like all within, like I said, the same 30 seconds to a minute of this movie when it comes out. So one of the weird things I didn't kind of know, because I've never been in a movie before, was that it was kind of hard at the end of the day to come down from the energy of being on a movie set all day and working in that energy that they have all day, and drinking coffee and caffeine all day to like stay awake. And another weird aspect of it is that, especially in my kind of case where I'm working on this one chunk of it, it's like you're spending, so if you add all the hours together, it's probably something like 30 hours that I was working on 30 seconds of a movie, or watching them film 30 seconds. So it's like everything looks the same, everyone's dressed the same, and the words everyone's saying when the director says action are the same, and everything was just kind of the same for 3 straight days. And when it was finally over, and I was kind of walking into my apartment knowing it was really done and that I wasn't waking up the next morning and going back, I was kind of like, man, it's a weird feeling. Like, I feel like that was like a dream, or it was just it is a weird like deja vu type of metaphysical mental feeling where you're like, I was just kind of trapped in a 30-second period of time for 3 days. And I'm going to have to sort of, it's like an astronaut coming back from space. You're like, I'm going to need to reacclimate for a day or two here. It was kind of weird. And there's a little bit of, like, depression, I think, that comes with it. I mean, not, like, real. That word is a serious word, and it means illness. But what I'm talking about is, you know, everyday mild depression of, like, you know, just being kind of bummed about something. And I think I was kind of bummed. I was like, oh, I'm sad I'm not going to see the director anymore. I'm sad I'm not going to see the other actors I was working with anymore. It was, you know, I can't even imagine for them it's like 30 days. I only worked on that movie for 4 days, and I made a lot of good friends, and I was sad to see him go, and it was funny, you know? It was kind of like, it was a really interesting experience. I think I'll be able to kind of tell you guys more interesting kind of anecdotes once the thing comes out, and my non-disclosures that are worrying me in my head are up, and I can talk about like what the movie's about and stuff a little bit more. But I don't want to ruin anything for anyone, including me. But so I will say I was like, because I had lines, and so movie sets are weird. There's a super clear and defined power structure when it comes to movies and TV. I mean, I have been in German movies, and they're kind of like this. So I guess I should count those. I don't know. They're different, though. But anyhow. You know, extras, background people. I've done it. You get treated like shit. You're the lowest. Like, you're one step above the equipment that they're using. And a lot of the equipment is more important than you. So that's the lowest place you can be. Then, probably some members of the crew, like PAs, stuff like that. And then, various members of the crew. Then a bunch of actors like me, like 4-line people, small roles. And then some really important members of the crew, like the heads of the departments, like head of sound, head of cinematography, the director, the assistant director, 1 and 2. Like, so there's the producer, the executive producer. There's these people who you kind of realize they're important. And everyone knows where they stand. Even the call sheet, which has all our info on it, it has a number next to your name. That's like where you're listed in the credits. That's basically your rank in the cast. It's heavy. So I had never broken the top 20 before. I'd never been like an semi-important person on a movie set. So I was now like getting my own little fold-out chair, and I'm sitting with the real stars of the movie, Malin Ackerman and Ken Marino and Joe Manganiello. They're like 3 big stars. Joe Manganiello's from Magic Mike, and Malin is from Harold and Kumar and 27 Dresses and all these funny fucking comedies. And Ken Marino is like a comedic hero of mine from the state, a guy whose career I always kind of admired and thought maybe like something I could do. And there I am, like my chair's with theirs, and it was kind of awkward day one when they were like, "Why? Who is this guy?" I'm dressed sort of in a similar way. That was an interesting part of it. Is I'm dressed kind of in a little bit of a similar way than a lot of the extras were. So I could at first look like a guy who is in the wrong spot if you don't look close and see that I have way too much makeup on to be an extra. But anyway, over the course of the days, I ended up really palling around with some fucking movie stars, which was nuts. By the end, it was like, we're all friends, you know? And I think I'll have some more interesting stories to tell from that as the years go by, and I'm less afraid of pissing off those people. But I will tell you that a little bit of an anecdote right here about Joe Manganiello that I don't think he would mind me telling, because it was pretty fucking funny. Because I didn't know anything about this dude, and I think that's why he ended up kind of liking me a little bit by the end of it all. And we hung out, we had lunch together. He was like a nice guy, and I think it was because I didn't know anything about him, and at first he thought I was faking it, and then he realized that I really didn't know anything about him, and he was like, I like this guy. He's kind of a crazy asshole who doesn't know anything about me. But like, he's married to Sofia Vergara, which I didn't know, and he thought I was, like... Anyway, famous dude. He's in the Magic Mike movies. Once I saw a picture of him online from, like, his other movies, I recognized him a little bit more. But it was just... Anyway, I knew he had been to Giggles, and I knew he knew Lenny Clark, so that was, like, my connection to the guy. But I don't know a ton about him, where he's from, his career, all that shit, right? So, if you don't know, I got retweeted by Antonio Brown last week. Maybe the most controversial wide receiver in the world right now. Maybe the most talented as well. Cut from the Oakland Raiders. Cut from the New England Patriots. He's already played for 2 teams this season. Right now he's playing for no one. So I was sitting on the toilet that morning. I'm not going to lie to you. I'll tell you the truth like I always do. I'm sitting on the toilet, looking at Twitter, waking up, and I see Antonio Brown. I see his tweet come through live in real time where he says, "Why shouldn't I play? I'm still good enough. I'm still the best there is. Why aren't I not playing?" Something to that effect. And then I write underneath, "Dude, bro, let's see if we can play for 4 NFL teams this year." I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I was busting his balls a little bit. I was busting his chops. I was breaking balls. I was trying to get some favorites and some likes on his comments from the people who would maybe find that joke funny. And put my phone down, got in the shower, started getting ready to go film my movie scenes. And then I fucking kind of glance at Twitter in my car when I'm on my way to the set. And I'm like, holy shit, I got a lot of notifications. Then I look and my friends are texting me and they're like, "Dude, Antonio Brown retweeted you." And I look and I'm like, so he wrote the Big 4X. So let's play for 4 teams, the Big 4X. He hadn't quote tweeted someone in a long time, and people are just looking at Antonio Brown's Twitter in a very serious way these days. They're watching his Twitter, reporting on it. I'm driving. I turn on EEI as I'm driving to the set. Rich Keefe is on EEI talking about me. I'm like, this is nuts. This is crazy. I love my life. I'm like, just like, how kooky, how funny. I'm going to film a movie. They're talking about me on sports radio. I'm getting, like, fans from this. Everything is gravy. I'm so happy, right? So I go and I park my car. I go to my little trailer. I get my hair and makeup put on. I'm, like, not looking at my phone. Then I look at my phone, and one of my buddies is texting me. He's like, "Dude, you're on TMZ.com right now. Like, your name is on the TMZ website. Tons of people are seeing it." So I look. He sends me a screenshot. I look, and I'm like, holy shit. I know it. I mean, I'm getting, like, new Twitter followers like crazy. I was smart enough to put my recent video of me doing comedy in the comments right underneath. So I was like, if I'm getting a lot of eyes on me today, I'm gonna get them on my comedy too. I'm, like, moving album tracks. Everything is going good. And I'm just like, this is such a kooky, weird thing, right? So then it's time to get in my black Mercedes van and take my ride to the movie set. And I ride to the movie set, and then the beautiful PA takes me to go sit next to the movie stars and join the circle of beautiful, elite human beings who are waiting to pretend on camera. And I sit down, and it's Joe Manganiello and Malin Ackerman, and they're, like, kind of on their phones, and I'm like, good morning, how are you, da-da-da. And I sit down, and then I'm like, you guys like football? You guys football fans? Joe perks up. He's like, do I like football? And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, well, Antonio Brown retweeted me this morning, and I'm on TMZ right now. And that's what was so funny about it, was that, like, Malin's immediate reaction was like, oh, sorry you're on TMZ. Like, that sucks, because they're real famous people, and in their world, being on TMZ stinks. But in my world, it's, like, good promo for my comedy, so I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking happy about it. But turns out, I didn't know this, but Joe Manganiello is from Pittsburgh, and it was a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan, a diehard NFL football fan. Calls into, like, Pittsburgh sports radio and talks to them and yells about players, and used to hang out with AB and feels, like, personally betrayed by Antonio Brown and hates the guy. I had no idea So I'm like sitting down, by far the least famous, least moneyed person in this little circle of folding movie star chairs. Far and away. And I sit down and I'm trying to flex my little bit of juice and show that I got stuff going on too. And I start talking to them about my cool morning on TMZ. And little did I know, I was just pissing off like this guy to no end. Not like in a real way, but like in a sports fan way. He's like, fucking Antonio Brown, blah, 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 wasted opportunities. So he starts like kind of like arguing with me and kind of like getting worked up to a degree that Malin Ackerman is making funny faces at me like, wow, you just stepped in shit. You just fucking really pissed this guy off. You thought you were going to be saying something fucking cool, and it's totally backfiring. And I was like, this is classic. This is so me to get to hang out with the celebs and to fuck it up like this. And, I guess, like I said, a lot of people may have been perturbed or they may have backtracked or started kissing ass. But I was already so deep in shit that I was like, so, Joe, I'm getting you're not the biggest Antonio Brown fan. And then kind of just made fun of the whole thing. And he was cool. He's a cool guy, man. I think he, I'm sure he's just killing time in a movie set, happy to talk to this friend of his friend, Lenny. But it was cool to hang with all those people. And I really am not bullshitting. I know I sound like I'm so full of shit lately because I love the Honda people and I love these people. But it was like top to bottom, great experience. Fucking Netflix, I gotta say, they got good people working for them right now. And fucking so does Honda of New England in Full Contact. Like, it's great. It makes, when you're working with people you like working with, it makes you better at your job, which makes you feel better and makes a better product. It's just weird. Everyone's happier, and you go, why isn't it always like this? But it's just not how it is, You gel, people gel. But I think it had one of the pros of sort of the pussification of America and like the oversensitivity. One of the good sides of that is that people are a little more easy to work with because they're so afraid. Because they're so afraid of being caught or in trouble or doing something fucking aggressive and getting thrown in or canceled, that people are a little more laid back. I don't know, but I don't know what the fuck that nonsense I just said was, but it was super cool. I hope it's not the end. I hope it's not the only movie I ever do. But if it is, it's still one of the coolest things I've ever done, One of the coolest gigs I've ever had. So I'll always remember it really fondly. And I can't wait till it comes out, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. So, and that'll be a new interesting chapter in all this when the movie comes out. So keep your eyes open. Watch my shit. But yeah, had a very big overexposed day there where I was like in a movie, getting written about all over the place. TMZ, ESPN, Nesson, they're all talking about it. My buddies were sending me, links and stuff as the day's going on. I'm definitely clicking on them. I'm excited as fuck. Whenever I was saying to my buddy Andy Picaro, one of my best friends, lives in LA now, who's also a huge Steelers fan, I was like, when I can kind of get my, I wouldn't say I'm jaded in many ways, but things get less exciting as the years go by. Like, I was even thinking it on stage tonight. I'm a better comedian now because it doesn't affect me to perform at a huge place for a shitload of people. Like, that makes me a better comic. That makes me, like, my sets better. But sometimes you miss, like, that fear that you used to have. Like, the adrenaline of being super scared to go on stage and then doing it and overcoming it and killing. That was fun, too. I will say it's more fun to just go up there confident. And it's more relaxing and fun to be backstage shooting the shit, go up confident, have a good set, go home. But sometimes I miss those days of like, how's this gonna go? This is the biggest crowd I've ever performed for. That kind of like scary thrill feeling of doing it, but you're better if you're not feeling that way. I think you can get some energy out of that. You can get some stuff out of that. But you're better at comedy when you're up there and your heart rate is calm and it doesn't freak you out anymore to be doing it. And but I was thinking of that. So the movie stuff. What was the point of all this? I don't remember what the point of this was, but the movie felt new. It felt like a new thing. It felt like a new challenge. So that was really cool. But another part of me was like, oh, yeah. Sorry. I remember what the point was. So I still get super excited about things, and a good set's a good set. But I get excited, like in my gut, when I dip my toes into the sports world and I'm like crossing over with sports somehow, when it's the Red Sox talk to me, or a pro athlete follows me on Twitter, or like in this case with Antonio Brown, retweets me, gets me on ESPN and Nesson. It's happened before, way back in the day with Gilbert Arenas and me. So it's like, and even, going to Florida and meeting some players, doing a podcast with Brazier and Bradford, all that stuff. When I can kind of get my toes into sports and do some stuff with sports, it just thrills the shit out of me. Because I'm a fan. I love sports, I love the Celtics. I love the Red Sox. I love the Patriots, the Bruins. But even, just all teams, any athlete, I admire what they do. And I think it's one of the coolest things, on earth is pro sports. So it gets my heart going. It gets my excitement level up when stuff like that happens with Antonio Brown. And it brings in a new, I have like these different sections of followers. Like I have my Kumia people. I have like my hardcore Kumia comedy people. That's probably the number one. Hey, you're trying to kill me. Get the fuck out of here. I got some bowling peeps. I got just some Southie peeps. I got the Boston comedy fan. There's like little subsections of groups. And I also got a lot of just like people who know me for my sports jokes and for like Red Sox stuff and all that shit. But that's just all cool, That's kind of one of the good things I think about being a comedian now is you can sort of make your hobbies into, you can sort of like have a hobby, fuck with it for a little while, interview some people, and if you don't want to do your whole life about baking or bowling or fucking, whatever, but you want to hang with some people from that world, you can. It's cool like that. People, like, it's a good time to be a comedian in some ways. We're getting some respect as far as how we affect society, but some trash comedians out there these days, man. Trash. Fucking trash. I got Pluto TV, right? And there's 1,000 good channels on there, but there's a ton of channels that are quote comedy channels, and they show stand-up. And I don't know, if you're doing stand-up right now and you don't have a credit, like you don't have any credits, it's like, come on, man. It's got to be the easiest time to grab a credit in the history of stand-up comedy. There's more fucking filmed stand-up happening. It's got to be more filmed stand-up happening right now than since the 90s, since the last big comedy boom when Jerry Seinfeld broke out. There's like more stand-up live at the, or set list at the, there's like more fucking taped comedy sets than there's ever been. I mean, there's people I've never heard of constantly on, and I'm a stand-up, I'm in the industry, and there's people I've never heard of doing 5-minute sets that suck constantly, and then mixed in like real comics, mixed in with like Mark Normand and like other people. There's just a lot of shows out there right now that people can be on, which is good and bad. It's what we want. I think it's good in the sense of we're all making money right now, it's a good time to make money in stand-up. I think some people who have only been in it for 2 years, they don't even realize that they're in a boom period because this is all they know. But there's tons of gigs right now. When companies are like paying stand-ups to come in and do shows, that means the economy's good and they got money to blow. Because you don't spend money on comedians unless you have money to basically waste. You never go like, well, our budget is tight, but we need to have stand-up comedy. It's always, phony money, literally and figuratively. So there's a lot of gigs right now, and there's for everyone. When Kevin Hart and Amy, I've always said this as long as I've been doing stand-up. When Kevin Hart and Amy Schumer are working a lot, so is Will Noonan in Boston, Massachusetts. Like, it trickles down. When the people on TV and the national names, when they're working a lot, when they're famous, when everyone's talking about stand-up comedy all the time, everyone's working a lot. You're still going to be making $30 and they're still going to be making $30 million, but like you have more gigs and they have more gigs. So it does trickle down, and I'm seeing that in these years, and I know it's not going to last forever. That's the scary part, man. I think about that maybe too much lately. I'm in this good career period. I'm putting a lot of money in the bank. I'm having more success than I've ever had in my whole career. 2019 was the best year I've ever had in my life, really, financially and career-wise. And probably everything-wise when I look at it. I can't find much better, Cool shit left and right in 2019. The world's falling apart, but my hard work's been paying off, and I've been grabbing some gigs, getting retweets from AB. But I always think, this doesn't last forever. You gotta be smart. Don't act like you're now on some level where you can start spending money. I still spend money like I did 2 or 3 years ago. I hate spending fucking money. And that's weird because I kind of always thought I wouldn't, but I have a poor man's mind. That's never going to change, I don't think. I still buy some weed, and I've been buying some nice... I buy shit like I need, though. I got my teeth fixed. I bought new bowling shoes. I buy, new running shoes. But I wouldn't just buy, I wouldn't spend a ton of money on just shoes to, wear, Bought a couple new pairs of pants. But everything else is just in the bank and goes to rent and bills. Some people are like, hey, you should buy, a car. First of all my money would be gone if I bought a car. I think I'm getting the feeling lately that people think I have not just more dough than I really have, but a ton more dough than I really have. Just want to keep saying that over and over again. I'm still public school teacher level of money. I'm just not living at the poverty line anymore. Being a comedian is so rough, man. Actor, comedian, did not spend a lot of dough for a lot of fucking years, and I will continue not to. Also, this country's, who fucking knows? Just scary all the time. Speaking of dough, though, my new hobby, baking. But I want to tell y'all, I don't know if this one's gonna, I don't know if, I could tell my chick was excited when she saw me baking, maybe this will replace bowling. She's not against bowling. She doesn't hate it, but I can tell she thinks it's weird. I don't think she thinks it's weird that I do it, but I don't think she was psyched that I got so into it, joined leagues, started making friends with some pretty odd bowling types. She's a woman. They let fear dominate their brains. That's how they are. Just kidding. But I'm working on this bit. I don't know if it's even true, but I've kind of noticed this thing over the years with women and gift giving. My birthday's coming up, and I realized that I'm wise enough now, wise enough now that I realize that I don't expect a great gift from my girlfriend. I expect something okay, but I've kind of realized, this is the bit I'm trying to work on, and I haven't actually even said it on stage. I just have the notes, but I'm it seems to me that women kind of give gifts like they don't give you stuff you really, really want. They give you stuff that you want and that you like, but it's like approved by them. Like they don't want to give you something that is supportive of a habit that they're not supportive of. So for example, a lot of guys love to drink alcohol, smoke weed, and play video games. That would be 3 really easy things to give the guy you're dating that he would fucking love. Give him a video game, give him a bag of fucking weed, or give him some alcohol. For me, obviously I don't drink alcohol, but I've always wanted a girl to just give me a sack of weed as a present. And they never have. Flat Cat, the wonderful Twitter follower, awesome, like fucking legendary, famous in her own right fan of Anthony Cumia and the Compound Media Network. Flat Cat once gave me a bag of weed, and a couple other cool people who are friends and fans of the show have given me weed, but no girl I've ever dated has ever given me a sack of weed, and it would be a home run. No girl has ever given me like a video game or video game system, which would also be a home run. Girls usually give you clothes that they'd like you to wear, or in this case, sort of hobby stuff, but a hobby that they like. I immediately knew this, I just saw it in my girlfriend's eyes. I decided to bake. We watch a lot of Great British Bake Off, and I've always kind of been like, I bet I could do that. And then I saw some YouTube video just popped up, like how to make bread really easily. And I was like, kind of just got in my head. I was like, Saturday night, I'm going to make some fucking bread. I'm staying in. I don't have a gig. I thought I would be shooting, but I'm already done. I'm going to I have all the ingredients already that I need. I'm going to make some fucking bread. Myself. I'm going to surprise my chick. And be like, hey, guess what? I learned how to make bread in an hour, and I did it. That was my plan. So she saw me making it and was like kind of shocked and was like, oh, wow, you're baking bread. And I knew in that second, I was like, I'm getting baking shit for my birthday. I'm not going to get something to do with bowling because she's not that into the bowling. And I wouldn't get weed, even though that's what I really would love, and everyone knows that. But something about a woman's brain is like, I'm not going to give him just weed, you know? Like, I'm not just going to give him weed. Like, women say stuff like that. It's like, why? Women don't buy presents for their boyfriends like they're their friend, you know? You just give your friend something they want. You buy your boyfriend nurturing kind of like gifts that like point him in a certain direction, you know? Cooking, camping. Oh, this will be great. You can use this grill to make food for all of us. It's like always something that's kind of like not really a gift, which I find a little bit irritating as a man. It's like, you know, when I buy people gifts, I just think, what would they like? And then I buy it for them. And a lot of times when men buy women gifts, we just know what we're supposed to get, you know? Jewelry, flowers, clothes, or like gift certificates to places they like to buy clothes, you know? But women, it's way more open. I don't know what to get my guy. When I used to be a waiter, women would always ask me, you know, the waitresses and the bartenders, what should I get my boyfriend for his birthday? What, you're a guy. You're a little like him. You're his age. What should I get my boyfriend for his birthday? And I'd be like, does he drink? Does he smoke weed? Does he play video games? And they'd be like, yep. And I'd be like, get him one of those things. Get him some weed, get him some booze, or get him some video games. I'm sure there's a video game he wants to buy. Every guy has one game they want to buy. She's like, I don't want to get him any of that shit. And what she's not saying is, I fucking hate that he fucking plays video games and doesn't pay attention to me. I fucking hate that he doesn't smoke weed and live his life to his fucking full potential. And I'm fucking sick of him smoking and drinking fucking booze and farting in my fucking bed at night. And you know, it's making him fucking fat. And I'm not going to get him that fucking shit. So when you're saying that kind of shit, what you're proving is that you don't really give a fuck if your boyfriend's happy or likes his presence. What you really care about is just training the boyfriend. You know, training this man to be the way you want him to be. That's kind of what I've been working on I think the best stand-up bits are men-women bits, or relationship bits, or family bits. I just think those are the best stand-up bits. I know some young comedians are listening right now, like, rolling their fucking eyes, like, dude, that shit's, like, hacky, bro. Like, every fucking Jim Gaffigan's got that covered, bro. But the longer you do comedy, the more you kind of realize the way to do it is to just relate to as many people as possible in the most original way possible. So that's the hard part. That's the trick of comedy. It's how do you do jokes about relationships that still surprise people and make them laugh? That's the hard part. That's the challenge. But Chris Rock said it. Jerry Seinfeld said it. It's like you can perform all over the world, and the man-woman stuff just always works. Because everyone is sick of the person, or, has the same. Men and women act the same, and it's the whole can't live with them, can't live without them thing. It's fucking true. Anyway, guys, short episode this week because the drive home was shorter than I expected, but that's it for the podcast. Keep checking out the Noonan Show. We just had the best guest. We had Lado on, who is a fucking famous musician that I met at Fenway Park, just in the stands. He's a fan of Anthony Cumia. He recognized me from the Cumia Show, and we started chatting, me, him, and his girlfriend, and it was one of the coolest episodes of the Noonan Show yet, and I urge you to check it out. And also, Paul's just been fucking going above and beyond lately. We're on Periscope, YouTube, Twitch. When we do the show at 1 o'clock on Thursdays, it's on a ton of platforms, and we are getting a lot more attention these days, and the show's growing, and we really appreciate you guys. And this week we are actually filming some bonus content for the Patreon patrons, so that will also be started, and pretty cool stuff, I must say. I'm excited for what we're doing for the Patreon. So you can check that out, patreon.com/Will Noonan. And the Noonan Show is on YouTube. Subscribe at my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Will Noonan. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening to the show. And remember, no one told you they love you today. I do. Peace out. Test. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. You Venmo my weed guy. Oh shit, I'm not even off this fucking tune yet. Shit. Smoking weed. Fuck. Testing. 1, 2, 3.